Happy Friday, everyone. Today we're going to talk about squats. So, squats are going to be our exercise of the month, and I have composed a video of a few different techniques that you can do with squats. The first thing we're going to talk about is the primary movers of a squat. So, the first primary mover is the quadriceps, which are made up of 4 muscles and they are in the front of your thighs. The other primary mover is your gluteus, which is made of 3 muscles and it's your... Also during squats you use your hamstrings, and that is the back of your thighs. They don't use as much force as your quads and your glutes do, but they play an important part in squatting. The other muscle that is used is actually your transverse abdominals, which is your deep muscles. So they're used as stabilizers. So squats are very good for your core as well as your legs. The biggest things that you want to avoid in squatting is using your knees, because if you are squatting a lot of weight, that can put a lot of pressure on your joints. So you do want to avoid leaning forward too much. You want to have a slight forward lean, but that should come from your hips and not from your shoulders. You should maintain a flat back. Another thing that you should do is make sure that your hips are pushing backwards and down. You can tell this is happening if your knees are staying in line with your ankles. When you're starting out doing squats, you want to try to make sure that you avoid going over your toes. So when most people start doing squats, or I introduce squats to clients that I've worked with in the past, the first thing that I hear is, I can't do squats because my knees are bad. You should not be using your knees while you are squatting at all. Like I said, your primary movers for your squats are your quads, your glutes, and then also you use your hamstrings and your core. Most people, what they are doing are squatting into their knees. So when you're doing a squat, you want to visualize that you're pushing through the heels of your feet and that you're sitting back, as in back into a chair, instead of allowing your shoulders to lean forward. So the next time you feel like you are hurting your knees, try to do some readjustments. The best thing that I like to use is a VersaLoop, which is the resistance band that is a circle, and you place that around the outside of your knees, and then when you squat up you push out into that band. That makes sure that you're using your glutes. Now if you have any tightness or flexibility issues, you will compensate for that movement. So make sure that your range of motion is good first as well. So if you've never done squats before, the best way to start doing squats is using a stability ball. That is the first exercise that I'm going to demonstrate for you. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to take the ball and place it on the wall, and then you want to make sure that ball sits in the small of your back. So once you've gotten that ball into place, then you're going to adjust your feet and make sure they're at least hip width apart. Some people like to go further and go shoulder width apart, but that's up to you. So when you are pushing down into the ground, you're allowing the ball to roll back onto the wall, and this is going to help keep you in line. And so with the small of your back on the ball, you're going to maintain a flat back as your hips flow down to the floor, and you're concentrating on pushing through the floor through your heels as you push yourself back up. For more of a challenge, then you could go to a single leg squat using the stability ball. That is the next exercise that is demonstrated here. So you're going to do the same thing, preparation, and take the ball and put it in the small of your back. You want to make sure that your foot is within your hips, and you're going to lift the other foot up out in front of you. Squatting down, pushing into the heel, trying to go parallel to the floor, and then pushing back up. This is a great way to get started on single leg squat. The next exercise that we're going to do, we're going to use the Bosu ball. So the Bosu ball adds in a little instability, so you're working on balance. And then we are working on an unlevel plane. So we're placing one foot in the middle of the ball and the other foot flat on the floor. And so when we're pushing up through the ground, we should really be feeling that exercise in the glute that's on the floor. And we're stabilizing the side that is on the Bosu ball. If you want to add in a little cardio to this exercise, you can push off the ball over top to the other side, making sure that you push through the heel as you land down and push up over the side. As you become used to this exercise, you can speed up and get that heart rate pumping. Next, we're going to combine the two pieces of equipment using the stability ball in the small of our back to help with our form, and we're going to use the Bosu ball out in front of us. As we squat down, we're going to hold the Bosu and allow it to tap the top of our thighs to make sure that we're getting a good range of motion. And then we're going to take that Bosu ball and press it up overhead. This has been your exercise of the month. Happy squatting.